Disclaimer, this channel assumes you talk to your DM about literally everything. This is a communication game. The game literally doesn't work if you don't talk to each other. Anyways, let's start the video. Heavily obscured areas. It's useful, but it never properly worked in 2014. And in 2024, they basically dropped the ball again. I feel like they just keep messing up by including darkness among heavily obscured areas. Today we're gonna look at the rules as written and talk about what is meant by these rules and how to optimize it. There's one new thing that's gonna catch you by surprise. Or maybe the whole thing is gonna catch you by surprise because most people don't understand how heavily obscured even works. It is useful to know in very specific cases. Like, when you actually need it, you really need it. Welcome to Pack Tactics, where you should come join the dark side. Only an optimizer deals in absolutes. We need to look at vision and light on page 19 of the 2024 Player's Handbook. Some adventuring tasks, such as noticing danger, hitting an enemy, and targeting certain spells, are affected by sight. So effects that obscure vision can hinder you, as explained below. Obscured areas. An area might be lightly or heavily obscured. In a lightly obscured area, such as an area with dim light, patchy fog, or moderate foliage, you have disadvantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on sight. A heavily obscured area, such as an area with darkness, heavy fog, or dense foliage, is opaque. You have the blinded condition when trying to see something there. Light. The presence or absence of light determines the category of illumination in an area, as defined below. Blah blah blah. Darkness. Darkness creates a heavily obscured area. Characters face darkness outdoors at night, within the confines of an unlit dungeon, or in an area of magical darkness. An area of heavy fog is opaque. Sure, obviously. It basically functions like a wall. Well, not fully a wall, but you know what I mean. As for darkness, darkness is opaque? When you think about it, that makes absolutely no sense. They even added that characters face darkness at most moonlight nights. I didn't properly read it out, but that's what it says. That means in-game, when you go outside at night, you cannot see the moon or the stars ever. It's pitch black outside. It literally looks like this. It also means that if someone at the other end of a dark hallway holds a torch, while there is darkness between you and them, you cannot see the torch or its wielder. The darkness is opaque. The next sentence says that you have the blinded condition when trying to see something within a heavily obscured area. I don't really understand the addition of this because rules as written, the area is already opaque. So by definition, you cannot see something within the area. It also means your peripheral vision suddenly vanishes while looking in the area. I don't think they intended for that, so maybe we can just read it as blinded with regards to the area only. I have played with people that say immunity to the blindness condition somehow makes you able to see through heavily obscured areas. I don't agree with them because of the inclusion of the word opaque. But anyways, these rules work fine for the most part. If someone casts Fog Cloud, it's basically an opaque sphere that you can walk through. That means being unable to see creatures inside or behind it. Sleet Storm is a similar picture, but a cylinder instead. It even works for Darkness spell, as dark vision and non-magical light cannot penetrate it. If there's a torch behind it, you cannot see it. But for regular darkness, I'm talking about non-spell darkness. For your average Joe, it just doesn't work. I wish they just wrote down in the darkness section that this heavily obscured area is not opaque. The blinded part from the rule would still mean you cannot see anything inside the area, while you can see things that are behind the darkness, like the torch or the moon. I think you guys understand what I mean. You're only blinded when trying to see something in the darkness. I'm pretty sure everyone runs mundane darkness this way, or at least I hope so, because rules as written, this is really dumb rules. Before we move on, do take note that dark vision modifies if an area counts as darkness for you, which again influences what area counts as heavily obscured. Now let's get super duper cereal with Magic Spoon. It's grain-free cereal with delicious flavors. I had some this morning, it was blueberry muffin. These cereals have 13 to 14 grams of protein, 0 sugar, and 4 to 5 grams of net carb in each serving. Perfect to start an optimal day. As for treats, they have 11 to 12 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and 1 to 2 grams of net carbs. That's more than enough fuel to play 8 hours of D&D. And last but not least, there's new granola now. 13 grams of protein and 0 sugar in delicious flavors like honey, almond, and peanut butter. Kobold, we got tons of stuff from them! Yeah, this batch is way different from last year. I feel like they improved everything, especially the treats, and the treats have always been my favorites. I highly recommend Magic Spoon. Click the link below or scan the QR code on the screen to grab some cereal today. Be sure to use the promo code PACKTACTICS at the checkout to get a $5 discount for any order. Or go to magicspoon.com/PACKTACTICS. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for whatever reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Now let's move on. In the cover section on page 26, it says, Unseen attackers and targets. When you make an attack roll against a target you can't see, you have disadvantage on the attack roll. This is true whenever you're guessing the target's location or targeting a creature you can hear but not see. If the target isn't in the location you targeted, you miss. When a creature can't see you, you have advantage on attack rolls against it. If you are hidden when you make an attack roll, you give away your location when the attack hits or misses. We could also argue some of this via the blinded condition, but it's unnecessarily convoluted and I think it will confuse you. I'll only mention these rules. If you make an attack on someone that's inside a fog cloud, you cannot see them, but you can hear them, and thus know their position. You have disadvantage to your attack, but the creature can't see you either, so you also have advantage to your attack. Advantage and disadvantage cancel each other out. That's what it says on page 12. So this becomes a normal roll. Same thing in Sleet Storm or in the Darkness spell. To elaborate further, if a creature lays prone in the fog cloud, that still counts as a straight roll for you. An advantage and a disadvantage cancel absolutely everything. Everything becomes a normal roll. But that also applies to the enemy as well. The prone creature is attacking you with a straight roll, not at disadvantage. What all of this means is that spells like Fog Cloud and Sleet Storm work better when you're better at ranged combat than the enemies. Like when you're fighting melee goons, though either spell can also be effective against spellcasters that require sight for their spells. And other features too. A classic example of Fog Cloud being strong is when you're fighting against pack tactics. But Kobold, why would you want to fight against pack tactics? Ooh, Gator, you should ask Reddit about that. But seriously, wolves and kobolds are pretty common at low levels, for example. They come in swarms, and pack tactics gives them advantage basically all the time. If there's like 6 of them swarming you with advantage, they're gonna do a lot of damage to you. Even if you have super high AC, they're gonna hit very often. At tier 1, pack tactics is the #1 killer in the game. It's usually the thing that kills you. But with a heavily obscured spell like Fog Cloud or Darkness, you counter that advantage and make everything a straight roll. That is incredibly good defense because you turn those deadly monsters into basically regular mobs with no features. Even if the wolf prones you, like, it's still a straight roll. It doesn't mean anything. Well, you lose speed, but you want to stay in the Fog Cloud. The Fog Cloud is the safest place to be when you're fighting against pack tactics. I've seen a ton of wolf encounters. I've seen so many that I can make an entire video on it, because they're always so different. One time I ran a one-shot for my Patreon where I gave them a mega deadly fight against 30 wolves and 5 dire wolves at level 3. And they barely took any damage when they cast Fog Cloud. That pack tactics didn't do anything. So Fog Cloud is an incredibly powerful emergency spell. When you need it, you really need it. So I highly recommend prepping it or having it in a scroll. It's usually better to have it in a scroll because it is technically a rare cast. But if you're playing in games where there's flanking rules or there's tons of kobolds running around, then you should have it prepared all the time in tier 1. Advantage on attacks against you destroy you at tier 1. One time I saw a barbarian get ripped to shreds on the first round. He immediately got downed. Now let's move on to something quite different. In 2024, Hunger of Hadar got an interesting boost. If you have dark vision, you can see through Hunger of Hadar from the outside. There's no general rule about dark vision being blocked by magical darkness. The darkness spell and Maddening Darkness do have this clause, but Hunger of Hadar doesn't. You can see through this area. You don't have disadvantage. And the enemy inside the Hunger of Hadar is blinded. Even if the enemy has dark vision, it doesn't matter. They still have disadvantage. Meanwhile, you have advantage. Same with your friends if they have dark vision. So if you're playing a warlock, I highly recommend this spell. It's incredible. Especially combined with a druid or a ranger with spike growth or plant growth. Those are some really strong combos. We could continue further, especially with other special senses like invisibility, hidden, and much more. But I don't really want to complicate this video. There's a lot of tables who don't fully understand Heavily Obscured, so, you know, I want to keep this as simple as possible. Pick up Fog Cloud and Hunger of Hadar if it's available. Sleet Storm is very good too, although it got nerfed. Darkness, you can do quite a lot with Darkness, but I like Fog Cloud more. All of these spells can be very complicated videos, although I've already covered Fog Cloud like a million times, because I talk about wolves all the time. And this video is just another one. But yeah, Fog Cloud and Hunger of Hadar are the two kings here. I hope you guys learned something new today. This is really useful stuff for tier 1 and 2. End the video. Guys, check out the Gator dice. Don't they look cool? There's also going to be Kobold dice as well. They will be on Backer Kit in March, so stay tuned. Link in the description. Anyways, if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye!